Good morning, fellow zombies. Are we emotionally screwed up and sleep deprived? I know the hell I am. 2:33 in the morning, West Coast time. It's the 9th of February 2024, the wee regency of Rosamond, California. Oh boy. Well, imagine waking up about 2 o'clock in the morning and hearing your lovely law enforcement agencies at work. Notably, Highway Patrol and Kern County Sheriff's Department after another bad guy chasing through town. Isn't that wonderful? Hell, it could have been LA County. I couldn't even tell. Didn't get to the camera fast enough. Didn't get to the window fast enough. But it's like a whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. So by the time my camera's ready to get a good shot of it, it's already gone, and all I hear is lingering memories. But that's not the thing I'm talking about this morning, guys. No. When I get up early in the morning, I like to check some things out on YouTube, see if I missed anything. I don't go on the other postings very much unless there is something going to be catching my attention, and this one caught my attention. Normally it shouldn't. Normally it should be just in the background radiation. And not this one. I don't know why. It just, I don't know. It just caught my attention on this one. So now I got to give it due diligence. There are certain sites out there I track, and one of them actually helps me out a great deal, especially when I'm into turmoil on the inside. Ministered, I usually, excuse me, yeah, happens every time I use that damn CPAP machine. Um, Last year, I was really feeling emotionally low, and I came across this gentleman's site, and hearing it, it seemed like it was the thing to do. It was an appropriate thing for me to do. So I listened, and I tried to be part of the flock, part of the congregation. I'm not quite sure if I'm still there or not. They probably consider me online on ministry, part of a congregation, I hope. It's been far too long since I've stepped into a brick and mortar. But then again, after hearing some of these people getting radicalized left and right, it scares the crap out of me. Because I don't want to get radicalized or brainwashed or even cause an incident. Probably would. Just walking out saying, this is not what Christ would teach. This is not what God would have us go through. I got a problem with that. I know somewhere in the Bible, I came across stories like this, but I just couldn't quite get the damn chapter on this one. Drove me nuts. Where God would be winnowing the chaff from the wheat, sorting out who's who and what's what, and who's going to be fit and who's not going to be fit. Probably talk about it in the Old Testament and portions of the New Testament, I guess. God testing us? Probably. I guess He always tests us just to see if we're on the level. And half the time, I don't cut it. I have to admit it. I don't cut it. There are things I've done that looks like we got activity outside, boys and girls. It doesn't mean I'm going to be running outside with my camera, but let's keep things locked up. Yeah, I get nervous about some things. I mean, I'm hearing other people trying to do the evangelical brainwashing on people. I hate to say it, but sometimes I think it's brainwashing. Does God allow structure? Yeah, He does. I would think. I think He would like variety when it comes down for people worshiping Him. But to the point where He's calling on other people to rise up and take over. This video is going to be sent over to this particular pastor over here, not doing the takeover, but letting us know about it. Because he's got strong concerns Not just with his flock, but just with everybody, because he's got that. He's got strong concerns running through his veins right now. Something motivated him. Something caught his attention. Something perked him up. And the thing is, every time I keep hearing videos of these guys are going to do this and they're going to do that, I usually let it sleep and slide. Because I think these guys are full of it. And I have to call them on it. One particular network out there who's doing the political stuff. I mean, how the hell do you put religion and politics together? Then I keep forgetting. History. History. And that should have been my strongest thing right there. I was never a history major. I wish I was. My brother was a history major a long time ago. He loved history. I always had my head in the clouds. Not just meteorology, but science and science fiction. Until you get a dose of reality for a long while, then you realize fiction is just fiction. You can put your morality plays into fiction, science fiction, but still fiction, and demonstrate your own version of reality and your own morality to people. Educate them that way. But from a pulpit? From a bully pulpit? I don't know. Maybe someone would say that mine's a bully pulpit of sorts. I mean, I am going to be sending this video over to the gentleman that I'm trying to associate with from time to time. Because when I hear him, at least, I need to hear something positive. Something a little bit of a warning, but he's not going out there pointing fingers. He's not dancing around. He's not screaming and yelling at people. But he does show some information from time to time. A link. I saw the link concerning about this one lunatic at a revival, and then he wants people to rise up and take over. Christians got to rise up and take over. It's going to be a Christian nation. We're going to do this. We're going to do that in the name of God and Jesus and everything else. So I got to ask myself, and I got to ask the people who actually follow my particular channel, the Diary of the Griever named John Weaver. I got to ask them, you think I'm doing the same thing? I talk about my personal feelings. I talk about what's going on in my head because I use this thing as a memory farm. I've said so before many times. I'm not trying to convert people. I'm not trying to educate people. But if I do educate people, that's also trying to educate me too. Because as an adult now, I value education. And I should have done it a long time ago. And I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't even paying attention to anything about it except reading stuff and observing stuff and just logging it in my head. But just didn't make the connections until you get age and wisdom and then experiences through a hell of a lot of crap, and then what happens? You turn out to be an old fart like me. You're toothless. And sometimes you wonder, you start getting scared. And when I started saying that one, that's a flag, that's a Roman flare sent up, because then I'll probably hear, oh boy, we got another one here, boys and girls. There was video links concerning about this one evangelical gathering. Right Wing Watch keeps an eye on a lot of these things online. Keeps people notified that this is happening, that's happened, this is happening, this is happening. I was searching and I found the material. And I checked. Found a link, sent it over to the Rev. Not the guy who's being monitored, but the Reverend I monitor and listen to. It's not a radicalization, thank God. I don't want to deal with those nut jobs. I've heard them too many damn times in the 80s and 90s, always sticking their hands out and saying, listen to me, listen to me. By the way, I want your money. I got bad news to tell you, kid. You're about to get broke because I want your money here. But I'm telling you that God's coming over here, and he's pissed as hell, and he's gonna come soon. So you better pay up now. Yeah, some of the channels. Sometimes they'll dance around politely, try to give you a hodgepodge. And if you buy this thing, and if you listen to this thing, and you support our channel over here, we'll give you more bad news at this point over here. This is the end of the world we're talking about. I had sent some comments concerning about this video that the Reverend had sent out. And I put in 3 words. Crusade, history. I forget what the other one was. Oh, forgets. People forget history. In classes, you're taught in the public education system out here where I was going through that we briefly caught onto the Crusades. Just a little bit of a smattering, and then after that we go through something else. But in a 20-week span of a semester, we can try learning things in the public education system. College, everything else is concentrated. I'll use a food analogy. Growing up in the 70s, growing up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we had gotten our orange juice, not exactly from Minute Up. Well, actually, yeah, from Minute Maid, but we didn't get the Simply Fresh. We didn't get the pasteurized crap out of the bottle. No. What we had was this orange concentrate that we'd stored the stuff in the freezers. We had big enough freezers, and we actually had plastic containers. You plop in a frozen orange drink or the frozen drink. Could be lemonade, could be orange juice, or something else. And then you would add water and stir, wait for the ice to melt in the damn thing. You keep stirring until you get this juice. Put the top on it. It actually had a pour spout on it. And you'll be able to get your juice that way. There's about a day or two's worth of juice, or maybe about a week if you're long enough. It lasted for about a week or nearly. Then we get out another one. We always had to manage our finances and stuff like that. But what I was trying to get to, before I get on a tangent on this one, is those frozen juice concentrates. They still make them out there these days. But everything is so concentrated, even in college. You have to dilute this stuff just to understand what we're talking about. Anyway, regarding research. When you get into classes of social studies, English studies, you have to research. You got to pour through books, get your topics, get your work cited, and get everything else ready for a report to give to the professors, and put it in a way that they can actually understand it in the format that's standardized in college. The MLAs, the APAs, the APLs, got to have acronyms for these things. But once you get this information here and you got to present it to the professor, there's another report coming on the way. And there's another one. And you research. And upon the research, you learn a lot more things than you're actually... And you're supposed to do that because you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to adapt. You're supposed to absorb this stuff. Because even the most irrelevant information that may or may not add to the report is still worthy to hold on to, because it's adding fuel to your brain. It's adding fuel and knowledge to the inside of your neurons in your cells in there. Everything's relevant to a researcher. So I'm hearing things concerning about spirituality. I'm hearing about we're going to take over the world because God told us to. It's not just a knee-jerk reaction. I got to figure out what the hell he's talking about in the first place. Oh, research, research, research. I come across ancient information in my skull in this one. Crusades. Taking history courses like Western civilization helps a great deal. World history also helps a great deal. And then your nation's history. But me, I was always going for, last time I checked, it was English history. And mingling it with my head regarding Western civilization, I thought I got a little bit of a good picture of what the hell was going on back between, oh, let's see, start of the centuries to through the Dark Ages and through the Renaissance period. Somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. I guess maybe even earlier than that. Well, we actually established the Catholic Church. I think it was between before Common Era. They called it the BCE 0, all the way through the Dark Ages. You had control of people through the Holy Roman Church. Popes and kings would listen to each other, or actually kings would get their marching orders from the Catholic Church sometimes. They want to convert, 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 convert. So we're going out to the masses and convert, convert, convert. What are we going to convert them into? You got to believe in God. You got to believe in Christ. You got to believe in the church. You got to believe in me. Otherwise, bop, bop, bop on the head. Middle East gets to be targeted by so many kingdoms and popes out there. No wonder they don't like Christians all that much. I try to make it a joke, but it's not a joke. The history of the Middle East goes further than what we realize. The Bible only covers so much of it. It can only cover to a point where we think it starts from. I think it started earlier than that. All these empires keep popping up and fading into the dust. Some last for centuries. But when you're dealing with the Church of Christ, happened right after Christ passed away. I mean, he was trying to establish a church on earth, but he was trying to establish, I guess, gatherings of people who actually would try to follow the commandments as best as they could. And one of the main commandments is love another. Love one another as you love yourself. I'm paraphrasing it anyway. If I'm not mistaken, this was coming from the Sermon on the Mount. A lot of people keep forgetting about that one there. If Christ actually was alive during the time while we actually had the Holy Roman Empire, or actually the Vatican actually sending out reports to their kings, Spain, France, England, we need an army, we need to convert, we need to gather more people for Christ's church, and therefore convert them or kill them. Basically how it was. So either they convert the masses or they kill the masses, one way or another. But this was in history. This is Western civilization. This is the stuff I was reading about. And the problem is with humanity at this point, we keep repeating the same damn mistakes over and over and over again. We just don't learn. It's no wonder history is replete with the same damn crap all over again. Reworded, but it's the same thing. Us versus them. You will obey or else. That's how it is. Empires and governments and religious entities. When we get into our thick skulls that this particular thing is going to happen, we really have to change things because this is going to happen and it's going to revolutionize. How many times have I heard this damn crap growing up? And just on the television, just from televangelists screaming and yelling at us, and dancing around and go to evangelical events, and they're really danced around. You will, this will happen. And I'm seeing the blood pressure and the faces contort, and I'm seeing something from the movie from Scanners because they're exhibiting their control over the people, and their eyes are turning white, and they're got this electricity thing going around their face, and they're turning into these monsters here, and they're trying to do the mind controlling people. But I laugh about the damn thing because sometimes it's not that funny. It's sometimes scary because the aura and pressure that they put on people, especially when they want to get out there. I keep wondering whether or not they got the veins popping out of their damn heads, and they're trying to really put the control and squeeze on people. You really want to get to know God. You just, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, in my own experiences, it wasn't very good dealing with God. But He did save my ass on an operating table, 4 years old. I've said the story and I'll say it again. I went up 3 times, I went back down 3 times. Every time they kept trying to work on a damn valve, one get patched, one get sewed, and the other one left alone because I kept scaring them too many damn times, and they thought I wasn't going to last long. So, third time's the charm, so just left the valve alone. I was born a month too early. I had plumbing issues in my heart, and 4 years old, I was sick enough where I got thrown into a hospital just to get it repaired, and then a lifelong dealing with life, death, and everything else, and mental issues, religious issues, physical issues. Good Lord. Growing up, we have issues, don't we? And I did say good Lord, didn't I? He was trying to save my ass for a reason. And for a long while, I had a hell of a resentment against the guy. I'm trying not to these days. I'm trying to get past this because it does screw me over and it does hurt. Probably hurts him more. There have been a few times in my life, in my youth, that I called out. I just go into a sanctuary and tried to pray for help. One time I did. At least I felt a little better after the thing, after the praying. I was supposed to be converted into Christ during that time. Baptized. I already was baptized at one time, but I just wanted to get that reconnection as a kid. And I had that reconnection for a short time, but at least I was aware during that time that somebody was still watching over me. I was trying to reassure me that at that time, someone I cared about was going to be all right. I shouldn't have to worry about it. Doesn't matter at the time was already selected that she was going to be passing away, and it'll be disturbing me a great deal down the road, but or that a grandmother would be stroke and bedridden. That was another thing to reach out for, just get some assurances. I guess a lifelong of resentment against Guy because I'm still alive and not sure why. And I'll tell you one thing. I mean, after you bury the resentment and the thoughts in the back of your head and you go down through life and then you lose other people that you really care about. The ones that really got me rattled. They got me paying attention more. It should have been done a long time ago, but it wasn't. Maybe I wasn't ready back then. Maybe I should have been ready back then, but I wasn't. How many times I kept going to the church I was raised in and with my family. Just kept trying to pray to God for something. I just didn't feel the connection. Maybe I shut him off. I kept thinking he shut me off. Like, what did I do to piss him off this time? I suppose he was still watching over me, still trying to make sure I was alright. A lot of things I still had to go through, regardless. I mean, you don't go through life easy peasy. You just don't. You have to go through challenges. You have to go through obstacles. You have to go through growth spurts. You have to go through pain. Pain, 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 more pain. I didn't discover pain until I actually got losing family left and right. It's physical pain I tried dealing with. You mask you throw Tylenol the damn thing. But when it comes down for losing people that you care and love, it really tears your heart apart. That's the pain to live with, unfortunately. And then I discovered I still had deep resented pain. Maybe it got healed over. Maybe I'm still dealing with the idea I should have dealt with this thing a long time ago. I think I was already dealt a long time ago that I didn't have to feel it anymore because either I numbed it out or else it was numbed for me. So now the pain I'm dealing with still is dealing with the loss of them. Favorite pets, but more than that, Ma and Dave. Big brother and Mama. And then there was another lovely lady who was a surrogate mother to me, too. And a favorite pet. So, like over the past 10, 11 years, everything else has been challenging. Challenging? Shh. That's a polite way of saying it, but let's keep the polite way, shall we? There was a letter that Dave and I pulled out of a small box that Ma kept some stuff in. And one of them was a letter addressed to a doctor, pleading to him to save my life. That was from my brother to the doctor. Doctor sent the letter over to Ma, and Ma stored it this time. Dave and I saw that one after, it's like days after Ma passed. Grief was too fresh and painful during that time then. We read it, we saw it, and we poured our eyeballs out. We never spoke about it ever again. I wish I had known how much grieving and mourning would be costing us, how we dealt with the pain in one way or another. Ma dealt with it, tried to live her life as best she could, tried to laugh, tried to love, and kept it silent, and so did David. But David kept chasing, not with drugs or alcohol. No. He was going to die clean and sober regardless. No, he chased after a woman, and then this one became a blood sucker. This one became a life sucker, money sucker, just a sucker. They're overseas through texting. My brother was needing another figure to hold on to besides me. We didn't have that many friends and family keeping track of what the hell we were going through, especially when we lost Mom. I mean, we went to meeting halls left and right, but you lose transportation to get to meeting halls. It becomes hell harder and harder. Nobody else follows you. Nobody pays attention to you. Did we get anybody help? Nope. So we were struggling on our own. We got suckered into something. After he passes away, I had to clean up the mess. Yeah, still angry. I got a bit of resentment on that one still. It's got to be taken care of eventually, but still hurts like a son of a. Yeah, well. Being conned into something, especially when you're weak enough and you're looking for direction, man, that's where the wolves come in. That's where they come in. They find you, locate you, and sucker you out of things. That's why I closed everything else off from everybody else I knew. I mean, I'd go for the education like crazy through college. I'm still going through it. Just taking a semester off to watch my dog die slowly. I figure next semester coming up in August, I'll be an emotional wreck, but I'll be ready for college again. This is going to be at least 4 or 5 months of agonizing wait. Maybe she'll be living longer. Maybe she'll still be alive during that time. It scares the hell out of me. I'll run into the situation where my little dog I'm taking care of will be dead when I come back home from school one day. And that always depresses the crap out of me. I don't know how I'd be able to deal with the last member of my family gone. And that hurts. Which leaves me vulnerable to a lot of things. To a lot of things, including watching things from other people dancing across screens trying to entice me to believe in their mentality, their insanity. They want me to believe and follow this and be part of this thing and be part of that thing. Meanwhile, the government's going to be overthrown because we're going to be throwing God into the mix. It's freaking holy crusades all over that damn again. Except this time we're doing it to ourselves. We're doing the crusades on ourselves. Well, this one's going to be sent over to the Reverend, but if the Reverend be so kind, he'll watch the next video because this is part 2 coming up.